Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where it's about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of the Blacklist. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we have that opening where Townsend's right-hand man wants to talk to him, but the dude putting aside his pills is like, you don't want to go in there. Like, dude, he's like, trust me, I'm the one that puts his pills together. The dude's insane. His right-hand man doesn't appreciate that because for him, it's like, this man is just trying to get revenge for his family that was slaughtered in front of him. We're the only family he has. So that's so interesting. I guess these are people that maybe Townsend picked up and why they're so dedicated and loyal to him because, like, you are family. Which I think maybe they're kind of trying to create like a parallel inverse to everything that Reddington's ever done. Like this family that Liz has built around her. This family that's willing to go above and beyond for her. And it's kind of a similar thing in that vein, I think, is kind of what it seems like they're setting up. But for him, it's like the reason why he's so dedicated to Townsend. I guess like he owes Townsend. Like maybe when he had nothing and no one, it's like you took me in and I'm going to look after you no matter what. So he's the one Townsend sends out looking for Liz. It's like she's on an FBI transport convoy, and it's like, we're going to be doing this in public. We're going to attract a lot of attention, but Townsend doesn't care. It's like, I want Keen. I want her now. So obviously we have the transport going on. And obviously there's the conversations between Wrestler and Liz, you know, for everything that's going down to be where they are right now after everything that Liz has lost. Because first and foremost, you know, Wrestler's blaming himself for all of this because Liz is saying, despite no matter what you want and hope, there's no coming back. That I can never be an agent because like, you don't know. She's like, I think maybe there might be in jail. But he's like, no, you don't know how it'll work out. But for her, it's like, I've done a lot of stuff I can't undo. And this is where we are. And Wrestler blames himself. It's like, I've always tried to be there for you, but that's my problem. Like, that night you came to me, rather than, like, I didn't, you know, keeping secrets from Cooper and everything, like, helping you. It's like, if I hadn't let my feelings get in the way, maybe things would be better off. But for Liz, what's frustrating for her is the double standard. It's like, Reddington's allowed to do whatever he wants to. He's the criminal. He's the one responsible for it. We know he's a Russian spy, but the fact is, I'm the one that suffers. Like, I'm the one being captured, but we just let Reddington skate by after everything he's done. My mom, Tom, Sam, Mr. Kaplan, my grandfather, my half sister, like everyone dead as a byproduct, either directly by Reddington's hand or indirectly. So it all falls back to him. And that's always been an interesting thing, that despite her complications, Liz has always kind of circled back to him. And so, like, no matter her anger, because regardless of how she feels, a lot of times she loves Reddington. It's a super complicated relationship, but she loves him because of Reddington, a lot of good came into her life, not the bad, not just the bad. She said that time and time again. So it just leaves her constantly, like, she's so infuriated because it's been one thing after another. I mean, sadly, a lot of the most recent stuff was a byproduct of her getting close to Townsend, but at the end of the day, she got close to Townsend as a byproduct of trying to expose Reddington after he killed her mom. So it all trickles down. Once again, what do children usually do? They, like, she might be an adult, but, like, she has a very complicated family issue with Reddington. Yeah, that might not be his actual daughter, but they are like family. He's the closest thing she has to family with everything. And, like, what do kids do? Like, you know, when you have a very complicated relationship, considering her upbringing, everything's got a lot of unresolved issues, a lot of stuff she never got to fully deal with. So she's going to take a lot of that aggression out on Reddington because he's the only one standing. He has all the answers. He's responsible for so much in her life that it's like, yeah, some people might not agree with that. I don't always agree with why, like, her lashing out at Reddington. I understand why she does, though. I'm not saying she's in the wrong to feel the way she does, but I think Reddington, in his own weird, complicated way, he has a reason for doing everything he's done, keeping the secrets he's kept. And he kind of breaks it down a little bit later on, but we'll get to there soon enough. But for her, she's just frustrated, just like the double standard. But obviously, they ultimately end up getting hit. Just as Reddington shows up to tell Cooper, it's like, the fact of the matter is, when everything kind of goes sideways and things kind of get really heated, you fall back on your political, like, your bureaucratic BS. It's like, why do that? It's like, the only way to protect, you can't save Liz. Because even Liz is like, yeah, Neville Townsend has eyes and ears everywhere. Just, even if I'm in lockup, there's no guarantee I'll be safe. Not like you guys can necessarily 100% but telling it. Let's not forget, he's the same dude that also, like, tapped your phone, Wrestler, and FBI phone. She didn't bring that up, but that's something. So, like, he has a way to getting to, like, the FBI, getting whatever he needs, because they end up talking about it later on. It's like, Townsend's the type of dude that can make anything possible. You think like Reddington would be at the top of the food chain, but even like I think you probably put I'd say you can probably put Reddington maybe at number 2 that we're aware of. There's easily, I mean, there wasn't a literal cabal at one point in the show. Granted, it's mainly dismantled, but obviously they're making it sound like Townsend might not be the top brass dude in the world. That there are probably even other criminals higher than him, but we'll kind of get to that later on. So the fact is that the transport gets hit. Luckily, Liz and Wrestler come out of it slightly okay. Wrestler did get shot. So, obviously, they're on the run. Reddington visits a dude who kind of runs things in the 7th Ward named Bino. And Bino is like, right, Reddington's reaching out to him. It's like, yeah, this is your 7th Ward and everything, but these are people that are very important to me, so I need you to do something for me. So he's got a whole network and pipeline. So Wrestler ended up calling Reddington, even though Liz was like, go ahead, call like Aram or the cops or whatever, who you need to. Even if I get arrested at the end of the day, at least you'll get to a hospital, but you'll be fine. Obviously, Liz wasn't too happy about him calling Reddington, but it's like, despite, like it or not, Reddington's our best option to getting out of here. Things were kind of going fine until, like, one of Bino's people, because obviously Townsend came into town because his right-hand dude couldn't find Liz. It's like, I guess it was too much to give to you, so I'm in town, I'm gonna handle things myself. He's like, I know how the 7th Ward works. This ain't my territory, but this is the type of place that people don't talk to outsiders. So he's handing out he's handing out like $100 bills or whatever to kids along with his card. It's like, you help me find these 2 people, you talk to your, people in town and find these people, there's more money. The kid, his name is Anton, he's one of Bino's people. And so, Bino kind of runs things, so, now he knows that Townsend's involved, and Reddington's like, yep, well, yeah, obviously I knew you wouldn't help, if you found out it was Townsend that they're running from, so of course that explains my reluctancy. But for him, it's like, I'm a lot more scared of Townsend than I am for you, so I made my decision, I'm gonna turn them over. Which to me is a foolish mistake. Don't get me wrong, Townsend is a scary dude, but at the same time, Townsend's scary. You still don't want Raymond Reddington as a enemy. You want him as an ally. It's like at the very least, at the end of the day, it's about hedging your bet. It's like, because even Bino says it later on, Townsend's a guy that would make even Raymond Reddington think twice. Raymond Reddington's run this game for a while, and if someone like Townsend can make him think twice, that shows you how scary of a guy he is. Obviously, Liz and Wrestler ultimately get to, like, they were in the next part of the pipeline, the passing up, the baton, as they say in this regard, but King convinces the dude to take them to a hospital where someone, a lady kind of performs surgery on him in the back of a restaurant. Granted, his lung is still in bad condition, but he's stable for now. For Liz, she's holding Wrestler's hand, and it's like, for her, she talks, because, like, it's like, you are taking the blame for, like, you're saying it's partially your fault for my actions. And for her, she's like, yeah, it's kind of a little chauvinistic of you and stuff like that. But for her, it's like, Reddington and Tom, there are very few people in her life who've ever been who they are, because like so many people around her are never who they claim to be, and it's like that's kind of the world she's in. But Wrestler has always been himself, and for her, that's what I love about you. You've been by my side, and you've always been your honest self. You've always been true to who you are. You've never hidden who you are, and I love you for that. And she's like, see, we're not in the back of a hearse anymore saying that, so it's back of a restaurant, so that's pretty good, Because for her, it's been one loss after another. She literally just lost Jennifer. She can't lose Wrestler. Like, it would break her. But she's promising to get Wrestler out of this. But your boy Bino shows up instead. And obviously Liz is, what pisses her off. It's like, I'm going to die for something I'm not responsible for. Because even Reddington's like, yeah, Townsend went through something traumatic. Like, the fact is, it layered a darkness on him, and the fact of the matter is, he wants to kill Liz in front of me because he wants me to understand, like, what he felt, what he saw, what he went through, that devastation, that darkness, that's something that you can't shave, that haunts you forever, hence why he is in the state he's in, but barely keeping his eyes awake, kind of in this constant, as he brought it up before, this, like, hallucinatic state, not being able to sleep and stuff, so it's like, Reddington realizes that's what this is all about at the end of the day. But Liz is like, why should I have to die for something that's not my fault? That is something that Reddington did. My mom had to die for something she didn't do, and now I'm kind of being forced in that situation. But despite everything, it was like, because Liz is like, the fact is, I get it. Reddington is holding information for you. Like, I've been there. He didn't tell you Townsend was involved. I get it. But the fact is, handing me over is not going to, like, make everything hunky-dory. But we give him, like, we kill Reddington. Like, that could settle a lot. But despite that, Bino takes her, calls Townsend, like, I'm really sorry about it. It's like, well, the fact is you're trying to make it good. And he's like, yeah, I just want you to know I'm completely sorry about this misunderstanding. And, like, without saying anything, like, Townsend hung up the phone and it's like, yeah. At that moment, I was like, oh, he's going to kill you too. As, like, the Peel dude was saying early in the episode, Townsend is a very irrational person right now. He sees red and that's all he can see. He doesn't think twice. He doesn't think things 100% through. Hence why it's like, right, you could have picked a better time and better spot to hit Liz. Maybe this was the best opportunity, but like during a convoy, you're going to attract a lot of cops. But I guess at the end of the day, if I get Keen, it doesn't matter, you know? So Liz is saying, like, for Bino, it's like, right, he's running a gamble. A gambit, it's like, hey, here's me taking this chance. Maybe things will work out for me. He wants to, believe in his chances because it's like, once again, a man like Townsend with the snap of a finger, he can change my life. I guess it's like, I'm small time compared to him, but if he snaps his finger, I could become big time. I'm not one of these Goliaths like him and Reddington, but at the very least, both in a negative and positive way, he snaps his finger. Good things could come your way, snaps his fingers. Terrible hell could come raining upon you, type of thing. So, obviously, luckily, Park and Aram were able to get to Wrestler. Sadly, they just arrived just as Liz was getting taken away. Because I liked how Reddington went about that. It's like, right, so he kind of backs, it's like, right, I know where Bino started the chain of everything, but I love that he's talking to dude Arthur, and it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, I'm going to have to knock down some dominoes, it's like, go from one domino to the next, and, so on and so forth, and kind of waving his gun around as he's motioning and stuff. But, sadly, at the end of the day, for Bino, his gamble doesn't work out for him because it comes a knock at the door. I'm like, it's Reddington, is it? And yep, boom, 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 takes everyone out. And he's like, yeah, this is actually be the perfect time to make some chess pun. He's like, be a moment to say, checkmate, and ends up killing Bino because it's like, right, you thought Reddington was going to let you go after that? It's like, no, like, Liz is too important to him. Like, you put the person he cares about most in danger. And obviously Liz pulls a gun on him, and he's just like looking at her like, yeah, I'm not expecting a thank you because I saved you, but honestly this is a little uncalled for. But for her, it's like, everyone I care about is dead because of you. And for Reddington, he's like, yeah, they are, and I'm sorry. The fact of the matter is, none of this is what I wanted. When I came into your life, I came into your life to protect you because I knew people like Townsend and were out there that if you, whatever, yes, I've kept my secrets, but it's for a reason, And that's another thing for Liz too. It's like, he can keep his secrets fine, except for the ones that pertain to me, as to why all of a sudden my partner, who was all about going after Reddington, suddenly turns on me after hearing something from Stepanoff, and it immediately is like, wants me dead, So, but he says, like, people like Townsend were going to come after you, and I never wanted that. I've done everything I can to keep my secrets to myself, try to keep everything buried to protect you every step of the way, Because that also makes me wonder, did even Kate not know everything? Because Kate steamrolled a lot of this into place. Like, she set a lot of stuff in motion that eventually got a lot of stuff, like, out there. Like, she kind of jump-started this. So I'm wondering, like, did she think that she was helping Liz in her own right? Right, I'm exposing, like, the fact is the real Raymond Reddington, your dad is dead. If that ends up really being the case. It seems like it is the case, but it's like, yeah, your actual dad is dead, and Katerina, like, did she know that Katerina was still out there? Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. We'll never fully know what Mr. Kaplan and Kate knew at that time. Secrets died with her, but I just think it's interesting that Liz, during that time, like, once again, manifested anyone. She manifested Kate to be like, yeah, you got to do what's necessary. So, but that's the thing, like, maybe even Kate didn't know how deep this goes because, yeah, Reddington, she knew some of Reddington's secrets. She was, like, the secret keeper, but, like, even then, it's a situation where maybe Reddington didn't tell her everything, and because of what she did know, thinking she knew enough, set so much in motion, not knowing the ramifications that would come down the pipeline because of it, But what's an important distinction in that matter is what he said. He said, people like Townsend. So it's not just this one, whatever this isn't going to stop with Townsend. It's going to involve a lot of powerful people. Townsend's just he may be the only one coming after her now, but eventually when those secrets come out, he makes it sound like a lot of people are going to come after Liz. And I'm thinking this has to deal with the Sikorsky's file. I think because it's like, right, he's going to kill you and your daughter. So it has to be a thing of Liz has to have it on her something. Whether it's in her mind or something, like, I don't know. Because it doesn't make sense why Townsend would want to kill her. Because we don't know how long ago it was, like, his family died. But it's like Liz still had... It was to the point that Katerina was still fairly young. So it's like, yeah, Liz might not even been... Like, Liz was probably a little girl at the time. So it's like, why would you want to go after a little girl who had nothing to do... But, once again, maybe when she was younger, she spoke and said something she shouldn't have said. I don't know. I'm thinking, like I said, because if she was the Sikorsky files or something, like, wouldn't he want that from her before killing her? I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. That also kind of defeats my theory on that part, because he'd want to kind of extract it from her or whatever. Or maybe it's like, I'm going to kill you first, then I'm going to extract it. I don't know. It has to be like she did something as a little girl, or maybe her very birth, her very existence set some stuff in motion that's not as... Like, my also running theory is I didn't think, like, her dad was actually... Reddington, or maybe there was something deeper to it. Like, I was starting to think maybe her dad's some, like, powerful official in some capacity that had some correlation and connection to the Sikorsky file. Maybe it's like, oh, maybe, like, Reddington isn't in 13, but maybe Liz's quote-unquote, like, real dad or something actually is. I don't know. Like, it's still just baffling, like, why he wants her dead so much, And so, but hearing that from Reddington apologizing, but saying what he's always said, I've tried to keep my secrets. I've told you not to look too deep in this because I was trying to protect you. So I think it is a part of Liz being like, it's not just, it is you, but also at the same time, it's me. I'm the reason why so many people got caught in the crossfire, because this is about me too, because I am the one that constantly dug deeper and deeper, despite you telling me and everyone around me, the entire task force, time and time again, do not dig deeper. But also maybe seeing the concern in his eye, realizing like everything you have done has always been about me. So I'm still in the dark about a lot of this, but they don't have enough time to really dive into that, as your boy Neville shows up. They're surrounded, and it's like, well, what are we going to do? And that's where the episode ends. So it's going to be wild to ultimately see where all of this ends up taking us. Going forward into the next episode, maybe we get closer to finding out some answers. Townsend's not going to stop until he gets to Liz. I don't know if the task force is going to be able to get there in time, but even then, Townsend might be like, I don't care if they're coming, as long as I kill Liz in front of Reddington. I don't even care if I have to kill you. I just want to... Might even go like, oh, let me kill Dembe and Liz in front of you too, just to make this thing. Let's like leave that darkness filling you up. So maybe for him that would be enough. And leaving, even if I die at the end of it all, Reddington, you'll be left with this like even more darkness, and what I have will be passed on to you. I won't have to be consumed by it anymore. Granted, killing Liz isn't going to fill that hole in his heart, but maybe he's hoping that if he dies, it could be one last middle finger. But like I said, I think this Townsend thing, regardless of how it ultimately ends up playing out, which I think it is going to end with him being dead, maybe spilling the truth to Liz, maybe not most likely not next episode, but maybe whatever it is going to set other stuff in motion, because maybe other people connected to the Sikorsky file. Sikorsky, I think I kept saying Sikorsky. I think Sikorsky is what it is. I kept dropping the S at the beginning. Sikorsky files are that is going to be why a lot, because it has dirt on a lot of powerful people. So assuming like Townsend isn't going to be the end of it. I mean, Townsend could also set so much in motion. I mean, to be fair, he's already put a bounty on Liz's head, probably talking, well, he probably used the information he already has, like whatever he learned from Stepanoff, to sweeten the deal, to be like, this is why. Because that's why so many people were hunting her for so long, is because they thought she had the Sikorsky files. So maybe there's something to that, in that vein, in this situation as well. Once again, we'll ultimately have to wait and see. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, love life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.